Hey guys, thank you for tuning in, and now we're going to be working on a header for our Apple landing page design. Two more things you might need to get started is obviously a text editor. I'm using Sublime Text, and you're going to be needing a browser. I'm using Google Chrome. So you could tell that I've already wrote a couple lines of HTML and CSS just to speed up the tutorial, because it seems a bit simple, but it will take too much of your time. I think you could just simply pause the video and get up to this level so you could get there on your pace and not hear me ramble along. So all you need to do is link to your style sheet, your external style sheet, and put this little reset on there. If you guys need me to go more in depth in CSS and HTML, I could create a new web series to really go deep into all the little bits of the language, but there's hundreds of tutorials out there that could help you with that. But we're just going to try to keep focus on recreating this as quick as possible, so I won't take up too much of your time. Okay, so with that said, you just need to pause the video and get up to speed with those two files that I've saved in a folder, and then just go to your folder and double click on the index.html file. It will launch your page in your default browser, and you should see this. So what I've done is copied all of Apple's list elements, and I just put the word logo as a placeholder where the logos are. We're going to first of all put this logo in. So we're going to put our image. No, we're just going to put a span with an ID of Apple logo, or you could put ID of brand, you could put ID of whatever that would best help you remember that ID, and it should really speak to you. So we're going to write Apple logo in here. The reason why you would want to write Apple logo in there is we're going to be taking the Apple logo and bringing it all the way to the left, so where you can see it, and just let the image that we're going to put in our CSS file come through. So in case the person is blind, or they have an accessibility program on their browser, they could, if they read the page, that they would see that it would literally say the word Apple logo, Mac, iPad, etc. So remember, it's human beings using these websites and becoming all shapes and sizes and forms. So sometimes you have to think about them and cater for them as well. So keep that like that, and in here we're going to do the same thing. So we're just going to copy and paste that there. We're going to say search. Give an idea of search. We're going to paste that in there. We're just going to give this an idea of bag. Basket is too long to write. Okay, obviously all of this might not stay the same, but for now, just to get the look and feel of it, we're going to keep it like that and go into the CSS portion of it. Bag. Okay, now it's pointless doing it for those, but we'll see. Okay guys, so we're gonna go to our CSS file now. You can see I've already reset it. Hopefully you're on up to scratch on that. So we're going to start targeting from the top down. So for the header, because we might use you might use header all over the page, we're gonna give an idea of main header, and we're gonna say give this an idea of main nav, and all this is optional, but just to add more semantics to it, we're just gonna name it like that: menu list items, and we're gonna give each of these a class of menu items. Yeah guys, don't do like me. If you want, I really should have made you put that in first and then copy and paste it all in so you won't have to take so much time as I am right now. I just didn't want to confuse you too much with this. I messed it up there. Okay, so each list item has a class of menu items, and everything else seems to be fine. So we're going to give the header a background color. So we're gonna paste that in. It's not normally how I do it. I just paste that in, copy and paste it in. Saves me a little bit of time. So we're gonna give this a background of 333, and we're gonna give it another background. So it defaults to a 333 if it's an old background and it can't understand red, green, blue, and alpha value. So we're going to give it a value of 000, which is black, and 0.8, which sort of replicates what that dark gray color would look like on a white background. So we save this, we refresh it, we tell it's almost the same color. Okay. And I want to give it a height of 44 pixels, and now we're going to take a quick look at this. Okay, so now it's been cut, so which means that we need to now float all the list items to the left. So how are we going to do that? We're going to target the menu list items and float all the LIs, all the menu items, to the left. Okay, so how we do that, we target the menu list items, menu list items, li dot menu items. Okay, just to verify what that is, it's the menu list items, and we want all the menu items under that are list items, and that's how we target items in CSS. What do you want to do? All we want to do is just float left. Okay, so you want to float left. So now everything has gone crazy. So now what we want to do is we want to target the links, and we're going to edit them a little bit. So we're going to say menu list items li dot menu items. We want all the anchor tags in there to sort of have a font family like this. If you're using a Mac, then I think these at font family set comes with it. If you're using a Windows, then that might kick in, or if you don't have Arial using a Linux, the sans serif might just kick in to just make it look a bit more round. Or you could just go to Google Fonts and select the font that closest fits. Maybe at the end of the series, I might go through what else you could use besides Myriad Set Pro. And now I'm going to use a font weight here of 100 because Apple's font is quite thin, so we're going to check if 100 is looks more like it. So we're going to give it a font size of 1M. Yeah, so we're going to give it some padding of 15 pixels. We also need to tell it to display as a block level element in order for the padding to work. So here, let's refresh this. Okay, so the 15 pixels is not working well for it. Let's just take a better look. Let's give it a color. So we could see exactly what it is. So you could see, guys, it's not exactly in the middle. I think because the height of the parent container is 44 and we're telling it to be 15 pixels. So it's taking 15 at the top, 15 at the bottom, but there is not enough space because this is more than 10 pixels. 15 and 15 is 30, and this is more than 10 pixels, so it sort of brings it down, which causes it to look off-centered. So what we're going to do is we're going to only leave 15 pixels for the left and right, and we're going to say 0 pixels for the top and bottom. And to give it padding, well, sort of space at the top and bottom, what I use is line height. And we know the height of the parent container is 44 pixels, which is the header, 44 pixels. So it's going to be dead center from using that. Okay, so we're going to say, also give it a few extra stuff, let us spacing of normal. I don't think it will do any changes, but in case it might seem too close, you might give it a little lighter spacing of 0.001 m just to give it, open it up a bit. So let's take a good look. We could tell that the font weight is a little bit more than 100, so we will try something bigger like 200 and see how it goes. Okay, so that looks closer to it. Our font size seems to be a bit too big, so I'm going to lower that, so we can say 0.8 m and give that a go. Okay, so you can see it's a bit smaller, and now I think it's a bit too small. It's a bit too small, so we're going to bump it up 0.9 m, and that looks much better. I think with that, I think it's safe to say that it's the space in the middle, and we need to also bring the whole thing in the middle. How are we going to go about doing that? So what I normally do is I create a class called screen, and to center, if I need to center a body of elements, I just put it inside the class of screen. And so normally we're going to give it a width of, let's say, 960, right? So we're going to say width 960 pixels, and to center stuff in CSS, we simply say margin auto. Okay, so let's now wrap our menu items. Let's just give our nav this class of screen, and let's see what happens. Okay, so now we could see that our screen has now brought everything to the center. And one little problem that we have, guys, is see when you float elements, that the parent element seems to always get to a height of 0 because the elements have been floated. So how we combat this is we put an after pseudo class, and we say content equals none, and we say clear both, and we say display block, and simple as that. And when you refresh, when you hover over this, you could see, okay, this is where our screen starts, and it stops about here. So we need to distribute this out evenly. Okay, so to do that, in this case, what we're going to do is keep it simple and say there's 10 links here, so we're just going to give each a width of 10% to distribute, so it should distribute quite easily. Width of 10%, that's 20, 10%, so everything gets even. It's an even distribution. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, guys, we're quite close to our goal of getting the header sorted out. So now all we need to do is pop in the logo in the logo background description. So what we're going to do is simply copy the link address and target the Apple logo ID in our style sheet. Okay, so let's go down to the bottom. Let's call the ID of Apple logo. See, this is why you would want to name your IDs properly. So I'm going to say background. This is how we put URL in there. So we just paste in the link and we add other references to it. We say center, just put in the word center once, would just center both X and Y. And we're going to say no repeat, no repeat. We do not want to see more than one Apple logo. No repeat. Background size. So we could say background size 100%. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so it's too big at 100%. So what we're gonna say is we're gonna just give it a height of 44 pixels because we know we're gonna use a size of 44 pixels because we know that the size is 44 pixels, and we need to give it a height because the logo is an A tag and it's getting all of this padding and line height. So we're gonna give it a height of 44 pixels and a width of 44 pixels. The text indent to be minus 999 pixels. So we need to tell it to display block and our background size 44 pixels. Okay, so now we can see the Apple logo is just too big here. So I think now would be a good time to give it maybe a contain property. So it contains the logo based on the size of the navbar. So we're going to be using the same idea for the search icon and the bag icon. So we're just going to copy and paste this to save some time. If you want to get used to typing, then that's fine. If you just want to copy it all over, retype it, would be good. If you're a beginner, get used to typing out the way of typing for this. It's a good exercise. So let's inspect that, and we're going to copy the link address like we did before, and that was the bag, I assume. So I'm just going to paste that in. Now we're going to do the search and copy the link address. Guys, you really don't need to download these images. It's only for test purposes, so there's no need to download them. You just link them from Apple. If the links are broken, and you just go back to the Apple side and do it, because you're never going to use it in a real project, I don't think. Yeah, I think that's wrong to do. So you can see we're pretty close. We're pretty close to recreating our Apple navbar. So I think from what I could see, letter spacing is a bit open. So I'm going to first test it out here, the letter spacing. I'm going to put 1 pixel to see how close I could get to that. You could tell my font size is a bit bigger when you put it under the microscope, but you guys get the idea. You get that it's how it's done. You could change the font size as you please. You could tell, the overall process and how we got to this one, and hope you guys are happy with the results that you got. I'm going to be putting the working files on my website after tutorial number 6. So you have to sort of try yourself and try your best to learn. So explanations are quite clear. My methods are quite okay for my first times trying to teach this stuff. I'm going to be probably making a few adjustments just to get it to look perfect. I think you should try your best to implement your own perspective to it and try to discover how you could make it look exactly the same. You don't be too fussed about copying it to the T, because you're not going to be using the exact same thing in another project. I highly would recommend you learn as much as you can from high level projects, but don't copy. I think that would be the end of this tutorial. I'll be uploading the files on the 6th tutorial where we finish the footer. But for now, if you're having any trouble, you could email me. The link is on my website. Follow me on Instagram or Facebook. All the links are on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. I'll be the next tutorial. We're going to be working on the hero images, so we're going to put all these in. We're going to put one of them in, and then we're going to move on to the 4-column layout, and then to the footer, and then to the JavaScript and CSS3. Later on, we're going to be trying the slides, and we're going to be putting all those little effects that we have here in future tutorials. So if any problems, just reach out to me in the comments or drop me a message, and I'll be sure to come back to you. So thanks for watching, guys. Good luck.